The single dad janitor carried his drunk boss home. She showed up at his door the next morning. Marcus Washington's hands were raw from scrubbing the executive floor when he heard the muffled sobs coming from the corner office. It was 11 p.m., long past closing time at Henderson Marketing Group, and he'd already cleaned 17 floors that evening. His daughter Emma's asthma medication sat unpurchased in his mental to-do list, waiting for Friday's paycheck. But something about those quiet, desperate cries made him pause, mop in hand, water dripping onto the polished marble he'd just cleaned. He knocked gently. "Miss Chen? You okay in there?" The crying stopped abruptly. Through the frosted glass door, he could see her silhouette hunched over her desk. Victoria Chen, the company's youngest VP at 32, was known throughout the building for two things: her brilliant marketing campaigns that had saved the company from bankruptcy, and her ice-cold demeanor that kept everyone at arm's length. In the 3 years Marcus had worked the night shift, she'd never once acknowledged his existence. "Go away," her voice came, thick and slurred. Marcus should have left. He had 4 more floors to clean, a daughter waiting at home with his elderly mother, and no business getting involved in executive drama. But his mama hadn't raised him to walk past someone in pain, regardless of their tax bracket. He opened the door carefully. Victoria sat surrounded by empty champagne bottles, her usually immaculate hair disheveled, mascara streaking her flushed cheeks. The Wall Street Journal lay open on her desk, featuring a front-page article about her father's company declaring bankruptcy, taking her family's fortune with it. "I said go away, janitor." She tried to stand but stumbled, catching herself on the desk. I don't need anyone seeing me like this." "No ma'am, you don't," Marcus agreed quietly, setting down his mop. "Which is why I'm gonna help you get home before anyone does." "Where do you live?" Victoria laughed bitterly, waving vaguely toward downtown. "Penthouse on 5th. Or it was. Bank's probably changing the locks tomorrow." She looked at him with unfocused eyes, really seeing him for the first time. "Why do you care? I probably don't even know your name." "It's Marcus, ma'am. And I care because that's what decent people do." He moved closer, careful and respectful. "Can I call you a cab? Spent my last cash on this." She gestured at the bottles. "Maxed out credit cards this morning buying my team bonuses before I couldn't anymore. Pride's expensive." Her voice cracked. "Everything's gone. Dad's company, my trust fund, my reputation. You know what they're calling me? The architect of the Chen family downfall. Like I should have seen it coming." Marcus understood loss. He understood pride too, and how it tasted like ash when everything collapsed. 5 years ago, his wife Sarah had died giving birth to Emma, leaving him with a newborn, crushing medical debt, and a grief so profound he'd nearly drowned in it. He'd lost their house, his job as an insurance adjuster, and every shred of dignity when he'd had to ask his mother to move in and help raise Emma while he worked nights. "Come on," he said gently. "I'll take you home. Your shift can wait." "You can't." Getting Victoria down 17 floors and into his 15-year-old Honda took patience and more physical strength than Marcus had expected. She alternated between crying about her father's betrayal, apologizing profusely for being a burden, and insisting she was fine every 5 minutes. By the time they reached her building, the doorman had already left and the lobby lights were dimmed. Victoria fumbled with her keys, dropping them twice before Marcus picked them up. Inside her penthouse, boxes were already stacked by the door, marked for storage. The view was spectacular, Manhattan glittering like scattered diamonds, but the apartment felt hollow, stripped of personality. Marcus helped her to the couch and found a blanket. He filled a glass with water, placed aspirin on the coffee table, and left a note with his phone number. "In case of emergency," he wrote, though he couldn't imagine someone like Victoria Chen ever calling someone like him. He made it home at 2 a.m. His mother was asleep in the armchair, Emma curled against her chest, both their faces peaceful in the blue glow of the television. Marcus carried his daughter to bed, kissed her forehead, and wondered if he'd just made a terrible mistake. Getting involved with executives, showing weakness by leaving his shift unfinished, it could cost him the job he desperately needed. The knock came at 7 a.m. Marcus opened the door in his undershirt and work pants, sleep-deprived and confused. Victoria Chen stood there in jeans and a simple sweater, her hair pulled back, sunglasses hiding what he imagined were spectacular dark circles. She held a coffee carrier with 4 cups and a bag from the expensive bakery 3 blocks over. "I remember everything," she said quietly. "I know I should be mortified, and I am. But I needed to say thank you. Properly. Ms. Chen, you didn't have to. Victoria. Please." She removed her sunglasses, revealing red-rimmed but clear eyes. "And I did have to. Marcus, right? I've walked past you for 3 years. 3 years of you saying good evening, and me ignoring you like you were furniture. Last night, you stayed late, probably lost pay, drove me home in your car that clearly needs a new muffler, and made sure I was safe. Why? Daddy?" Emma appeared behind him, dragging her stuffed rabbit, her breathing slightly wheezy. "Who's the pretty lady?" Victoria's expression shifted as she took in Emma's small face, the nebulizer on the table behind them, the cramped apartment with its worn furniture and walls covered in Emma's colorful drawings. "I'm a friend of your daddy's," Victoria said softly, kneeling down to Emma's level. "What's your name?" "Emma. I'm 5 3/4. Daddy says that's almost 6. Your daddy's right." Victoria looked up at Marcus, and he saw something crack in her carefully controlled expression. "And very smart." Over coffee, while Emma ate a croissant bigger than her head and his mother subjected Victoria to friendly interrogation, the truth spilled out. Victoria had lost everything, but she'd spent her last available credit making sure her 23 employees got severance bonuses. She'd be starting over, looking for work, probably moving back to a studio apartment in Queens. "I thought I'd lost everything valuable," Victoria said quietly, watching Emma show her a drawing. "I was wrong. I lost money. Buildings. Status. You have what matters." She looked at Marcus. "Last night, I was ready to do something stupid. You stopped me by showing me that kindness still exists. That's not nothing. What will you do?" Marcus asked. "I don't know. But I'll figure it out." She smiled, fragile but genuine. Without champagne this time. 6 months later, Victoria showed up at the Henderson building again, this time as the newly hired Director of Community Outreach, a position she'd created herself by pitching a corporate responsibility program that would rehabilitate the company's image. Her first initiative was partnering with local nonprofits to provide job training and education. Her second was ensuring Marcus Washington was promoted to facilities manager, with full benefits and a salary that could cover Emma's medications and then some. "You carried me when I fell," Victoria told him at his promotion dinner, Emma giggling between them as she stole fries from both their plates. "Literally and metaphorically. I'm just returning the favor." But Marcus knew it was more than that. It was proof that humanity transcended hierarchies, that kindness created ripples we couldn't predict, and that sometimes the people we save end up saving us right back. In helping Victoria find her footing, he'd found something too, a reminder that dignity wasn't measured in paychecks or titles, but in the choice to extend a hand, even when your own hands were tired. Especially then.